Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Christian Smedberg. I'm the marketing manager here at Weinig Holz-Her USA. Today, I have the privilege to talk to Frank Horn, our Director of Service. Frank, how are you?
Good. How are you, Christian?
I'm doing well.
Great.
Thanks for joining me today.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
Glad to be here.
Yeah. So everyone out there, we're going to talk about training, field service, and everything under the umbrella of Weinig Holz-Her Service today. If you have any comments or questions, put them in the feed below, and we'll be monitoring that throughout the video today. So Frank, I know that a lot of folks watching, they probably have communication and interaction with maybe a local technician or perhaps even a supervisor or scheduler, but maybe not you. So could you just kind of introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
I can. I been with Weinig for over 21 years. Been in the service industry a little over 34. So have my feet grounded in service. I've done things in the past that I supervise now, technical service, field service myself, as well as management at a service level, field service level. So my history is fit for this job and feel like I'm at a good position with Weinig.
Well, it's I have all the respect in the world for you and your team. Our service is top notch. I mean, it's world class. It really is. And our technicians out in the field here in Mooresville, extremely tenured. They know what they're doing. They've been around the block a few times.
It's funny you mentioned talking to customers. I actually started out as a supervisor for service at Great Condemptor.
Okay.
Before coming over to Weinig, and a lot of the customers that I dealt with there, I still deal with today. So it's a small knit community, but a lot of longevity with our customers and a lot of repeat customers, because we have a lot of customers that we try to meet that level of expectations and they come back. So it's a good thing. It's good relationships.
Now you say you started out with Great Condemptor. For those watching, maybe even some Holz-Her customers, can you just kind of describe what that was and how that got folded into the Weinig group?
It is. Back in 1999, I joined Great Condemptor as a field service supervisor, and we were responsible for the chop saws and finger joiners.
Okay. Okay.
And then years later, not too many years after that, joined the Weinig group as a one big team. And over the years, I picked up more responsibilities, including Ryman and Weinig and LuxScan and now Holz-Her. So
right. Yes.
we have a big product selection, a really well-rounded product selection that our customers can rely on.
So our service department here at Weinig Holz-Her USA is really responsible for every single product line in the Weinig group here in the U.S.
Yes, it's a unique situation that we have a group of companies that we support throughout the U.S. And serviced as far as our key factories back over in Germany and Austria and Luxembourg.
Right. So, Frank, how many people would you say are part of the service team here in the U.S.?
We have and when I say service team, we're talking training, we're talking field service, technical support, over 60 members.
Wow. Okay.
So a pretty good team, strong team of new employees as well as very tenured employees. So a very good mix.
I could only imagine how many years of experience when you add all that up. It's got to be hundreds and hundreds of years of experience.
And maybe even up to over 1,000. So
I bet.
We have a lot of tenured employees. Like I said, it's not uncommon. We've got guys 20, 25, 30 years experience that's out in the field working for us still.
That's such a great that's a great talking point, but that also really matters. When the rubber hits the road, you want to be dealing with someone who's experienced. You want to be dealing with someone who hopefully has experienced that same challenge that if I were a customer that I was experiencing. You want to have that person that has that experience and can troubleshoot and diagnose challenges quickly, easily. Not waste my time, get my shop back up and running.
That's exactly right.
And experience does that.
And that experience not only in the field but on the phones.
Right, sure.
If someone calls in and they're having a problem, if we have that experience on the phone, that's almost instantaneous. We get those customers back up and running. They're not sending people home. they're actually looking forward to getting somewhere there. But if we can take care of it beforehand, even get parts en route beforehand, that again, our main focus is to get the customer back up and running.
Absolutely.
And we do that by like two-pronged approach, trying to technically figure out what the problem is over the phones, and then dispatching a technician if needed.
Okay. So Frank, tell us about the umbrella of service. What different groups does that include?
So the way we're structured in our service department is that we have groups and field service supervisors and technicians focusing on product lines. We do have several technicians that go across product lines, but for instance, we have profiling and cutting on the Weinig side.
Okay.
On the Holz-Her side, we have edge banding, CNCs, and saws. So the way that's divided up is the way our teams are divided up, and gives us the best ability to support our customers.
Sure.
With that experience we talked about.
Sure. Very good. So now with Weinig Holz-Her USA, we have field service. Those are our technicians that are in the field going to customers.
Yep.
We have technical remote service, or we call it diagnostics. And,
Diagnostics.
Yeah, and that would be phone support.
That would be phone support.
Yep. And then we also have our training here,
Yep.
and that's also under the umbrella of services as well.
Correct.
So let's start with training. Tell us a little bit about it and how we handle it here at Weinig Holz-Her USA.
Training, we can come to your site and do training actually with our field service technicians, or if you want a more structured training, a more classroom setting, we have a wonderful facility here in Mooresville, North Carolina, where we have really nice showrooms that we have access to multiple machines across the product lines. So we focus on primarily operator training as well as software training to those that need it, and especially tied to new sales. But we will offer basically any type of training that you request ahead of time. Our primary training that goes on a monthly basis.
Yep.
Campus training on the Holz-Her side, software.
That's the software, right?
That's the software.
Yep.
And we have molder operator training as well, grinder and molder operator training.
That's every month?
Every month.
Okay.
We offer that here. In fact, we are starting back up. COVID kind of slowed us down a little bit because of restrictions and travels and some of the things that CDC was recommending. We've gone to smaller groups with regards to that, but we have opened back up our training doors, so we're here. We have 3 classes already scheduled in 3 weeks of May.
In May?
In May, and so we're already booked, and we're scheduling now into June for training.
Well, that's encouraging.
It is.
That's great to hear.
It is.
And those are classes that are happening here in Mooresville.
Those are classes that actually happen here in Mooresville. That hands-on application knowledge, and your phone's not ringing. You have focused attention. You don't have to go out on the production floor. So truly that attention training that you need.
Absolutely, and I know that's really up to the customer to decide what the best training is for their situation, but I would say that is a unique benefit of on-site training here in Mooresville, is that you don't have the distractions of your day-to-day operation.
Correct.
And you're also in our environment, so our instructors have everything that they need right at their fingertips.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And a dedicated machine that they're working from.
Right. So yes, we're not running product to get out the door. It's just for training.
Correct.
Yeah. All right. So that's an overview on training, and that's excellent. I hope that in the coming weeks we can get our training coordinator Jamie Scott here live, and we'll talk to him more in depth about scheduling training and what trainings are getting offered and what they involve and all that.
Yeah, I think that'd be great, because a lot of these trainings we do on a regular basis, but there's a lot of on-demand training that we do as well.
Okay, right.
We are trying to break new classes in this year too, and Jamie can go into that. We've got an OSHA class that we're doing for basic electrical classes that would benefit pretty much anyone dealing with our machines.
Which I think that's so cool, because that is not just specific to a machine. That's going to benefit operators across the spectrum of machines.
It is, and it's more technical training where you're trying to get someone that can troubleshoot better any of our machines.
Sure.
So again, trying to keep that idea uptime, trying to get the customer, keep them running as far as that goes.
So all right, so that's training. Let's pivot over to remote service or diagnostics.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that. How does that work?
We've got a group of guys that basically answer the phones when you have a problem out in the field,
Right.
troubles, issues, questions. We're available here Monday through Friday during the working hours to take those first line calls to figure out if we can resolve it over the phone, or if a technician does need to be dispatched.
Right.
One of the interesting things with COVID, we've had some impact with regards to where we can do our business. These guys have shifted from being in here in Mooresville, North Carolina, to being home based.
Right.
So they are, but as far as the customer is concerned,
They're still getting the same service.
that's right. They get the same service,
Yep.
and they are hopefully the technicians are a little happier because they don't have the commute to come in every morning. So, but we focus on getting that customer call answered when they call in, while they're at the machine, and we're actually trying to improve that during our time during this crisis that we're having with our customers with COVID, trying to get those calls answered as promptly and quickly as possible.
And we talked a little bit about experience before, but that team is experienced. They have. They have been around these machines for decades.
They have,
and it's great. I don't see them much now because we're all working remotely, right? But man, I remember back when we were all under one roof. I mean, this team would be on the phone sorting things out. If they had to go out to a machine, stick their head under the hood and just see what's going on, they did. They'd be texting, calling, video chatting. I mean, the whole 9 yards, just to whatever the customer needed. These guys were all over it.
Yeah.
And now they've had to pivot to do this at home, but it's great. They're still supporting the customer base out there.
Yep. And similar to our field service team, those guys have specialties.
Okay.
But they are one team, Holz-Her and Weinig. So
Okay.
we have several of those guys that do go across the product lines that can take those level 1, level 2 calls to
Right.
get the customer resolved.
Okay. So this brings us to the third group under the umbrella, field service.
Yeah.
Right. And so field service has just been, what a tremendous team that's been. I've been able to work with them now and then on some special projects on trade fairs, and they've just, what a great group of people. I can't say enough good things about them.
They're service professionals. I mean, a lot of these guys have been in the business for many, many years.
Yep.
And for technicians that have to travel as much as they do,
Mm-hmm.
customer service skills, their technical abilities, they are really well rounded to deal with a lot of the problems they have and have seen out in the field.
They are, and these guys, they're traveling all over the country.
Yeah, right now they're warriors. With this COVID crisis we have going on, they have limited plane capacity, and sometimes they're having to travel more on the car than they have to. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they can't get into states because of the problems with proper paperwork to go in to make sure they are coming in okay, and we're following the guidelines from CDC and taking care of them as well as our customers when we're on site.
Now, I know that some customers also have restrictions on operating hours now as well, so they're having to work around those.
They do. We actually have some customers that have basically closed their plant to anyone outside of their own
employees.
Operations.
Right, sure.
So we are having to go in after their shift or even on weekends to make sure that technicians have access to the machine and can take care of what needs to be done.
I see. So with our field service team that's out there, first of all, they're all over the country.
They are.
They're not just based here in North Carolina.
No.
They are actually located all across the United States.
They are. We have a very good placement of technicians across the board. In fact, one of the approaches we've taken the last 60 days is to focus, of course, air travel. If we can still do the air travel, we will. Mm-hmm. But to also focus 250, 500-mile radius from their home.
So that they can drive to the location.
So they can drive to the location.
Sure.
And continue to service the customers. I mean, that's the key thing is to continue to service the customers that are still operational. Mm-hmm. And I think of a lot of our customers right now, we've seen kind of an uptick in April that we are seeing those guys get back to business. They're trying to figure out how to get back to business because a lot of our customers are considered essential workers.
Absolutely.
And through this crisis, they are key in getting us out of this crisis.
Yes, that's for sure. Now, with our field service technicians, can you give everybody just a little bit of an idea of, how does that work as far as scheduling that team to be on a job site working on a machine? How does that work?
For installations, typically we send out information when the machine is shipped, so you
Okay.
have an idea of what you need to do before you call us and what date that you want the technician to be in there, and we will accommodate that date by sending in that paperwork or contacting us directly here in Mooresville to set up that installation time. For paid service and other calls, we will basically ask you to call in, of course, to give us an idea what the problem is.
Oh, sure.
Try to figure out what's going on. Again, our diagnostic technical support team hopefully may be able to diagnose you quickly, therefore get you back up and running.
Mm-hmm.
Or if it's a maintenance issue that you just want some help with preventive maintenance, we will be happy to come in, call the schedulers here, and they will schedule a time in the future, and we'll get the technicians out to your location.
Yeah, and the schedulers here, they're based here in Mooresville, and that's a job in and of itself, because they're having to coordinate this entire team all across the country.
It is.
And trying to prioritize where they're going, when they're going, and fill up that calendar.
Yeah.
That's we have some great professionals in those positions as well. I hope maybe in the coming weeks we can have a more in-depth conversation with the schedulers, the supervisors for field service, so we can give everybody out there more of an idea of what that looks like from the inside.
Yeah, and those guys deal with it. You're right. They're constantly shuffling the schedule because it's not a first come first serve for everything. If you're down and you need us, we will reschedule, shuffle the schedule on a Friday afternoon to get a technician there if need to, as well as any parts or anything ahead of time to try to get you taken care of.
Absolutely, and I've seen that firsthand. Last minute changes just to keep a shop up, running, and making money. Yep, absolutely. Well, Frank, I do want to talk a little bit about the COVID-19 situation that we find ourselves in now. And we do see some states starting to open back up slightly with precaution. Other places in the country still closed. And so can you kind of talk to us about what does this mean for our service department, and what have we done recently here in the last 5-6 weeks that's been a change?
We talked a little bit about our field technical staff that's answering the calls here. Technical staff.
Mm-hmm.
They are answering the calls as they come in. Everything's pretty much the same as business as usual as far as that goes, besides they're working from home.
Sure.
For our field service staff, it has been a challenge for us. We have a lot of states that we can go into, that we can't go into. Mm-hmm. We have technicians that are quarantined in place because that's what their state is directing them to do.
I see.
But the majority of our technicians are traveling. We have proper paperwork that we have with the guys that are able to get them in as an essential worker, to take care of our customers and get our customers resolved. So social distancing, everything the CDC, we're trying to follow all those guidelines. We shipped out some masks last week and this week for our technicians to use as well, as this situation is constantly evolving and changing day by day. We have many states that are opening up, but like you said, many states that are still closed as far as normal travel and normal business.
I'm sure that it's a challenge trying to keep up with the specific state restrictions and qualifications for essential businesses and our technicians going into those. I'm sure that has been a challenge here in just the last few weeks.
It has, and keeping up with the hot spots in the country,
sure.
Because we don't want to send our technicians in harm's way,
Mm-hmm.
And the customers that are after those technicians, we don't want to send them into a hotspot area and bring them back out. So
Absolutely.
We're trying to avoid the hotspot areas the best we can, and again, taking all the precautions needed and requested by us.
So, Frank, one thing that we did last month, I think it was in the beginning of April, to help our customers out, especially those who had some time to do some work on their machines, was offer a discounted field service price.
We did.
So can you talk to us a little bit about that?
I can, and it's more of a focus on labor rates to try to reduce that burden on these guys that they have a limited staff now, that they have issues with getting people to come to work. So we are offering a discount of our service rates until the end of June, and that is a 25% off our service rates
Right.
to try to help the customer best we can, because we know that their money's tight right now as well. So
Gotcha.
we want to get in and try to do that maintenance service or that down service, whatever we need to do. We're going to be there for them. And they can reserve that time over the next 90 days or even through the rest of the year. We will honor this
Okay.
special through December. If they would go in the next until June, reserve that time for the technician
Till the end of June or beginning of June?
till the end of June.
End of June.
Yeah.
So as long as they schedule it sometime between now and the end of, as long as they schedule a service visit with us, that service visit could take place till the end of the year,
Yeah.
but they just have to call us before the end of June.
That's right.
I see.
And
Okay.
reserve that technician.
Yeah. All right. I see. And then they can still take advantage of those discounted rates.
Correct.
We'll make sure that we put the discounted rate link in the description of this live video, and you guys can check out a webpage that will have more information about that. So, Frank, moving on from that, it has been, like I said before, it's been great to work with your team here at Weinig Holz-Her USA on some special projects, like I said, on the trade shows, and I just have a lot of respect for our field service technicians, our training guys, and our diagnostics crew. I mean, the experience is out of this world. Tenured folks.
Yep.
They know what they're doing. They know what they're talking about. Are there any closing thoughts you'd like to share with me and with anybody else about your team?
No, I think you kind of hit it on the head. We've got a lot of tenured folks. They're service professionals to the end. I mean, they have really hard jobs. Most of the time people are coming to them, they have problems. They don't hear a lot of thank yous and a lot
Right.
of feedback. So I think for them to do what they do is truly amazing day in, day out.
Yeah.
The traveling that they have to do for the field service technicians. Early on Monday morning, sometimes late on Friday night, sometimes Saturday, they get home to their families. So we really appreciate what they've done and what they've been able to do, not just over this COVID crisis, but in the past as well.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Every day, every week, every month.
Yep.
Sure. Now, Frank, so as we close this out, tell us, how do we get in touch with the service department here at Weinig Holz-Her USA? And if folks have questions about training, about diagnostics, about field service, how do they get in touch with us? How do they reach out to y'all?
It's pretty easy.
Okay.
You can go through the website. We have
Right.
email addresses that we respond to very
Mhm.
quickly. And otherwise, it's just a direct call.
Okay.
It's one number for both Holz-Her and Weinig for all the
Great.
product lines.
Great.
So we make it as easy as possible